Faith Formula 58. Why must we live for the sake of others? Already you know through my lecture. So the reason why we have to live for the sake of others because love only comes from object partner. God can, even though God is the Almighty God, omniscient God, omnipotent God, He can create everything, but He cannot create love and joy and happiness by Himself. Definitely, we need to have object partner. This is a universal principle. Universal principle is what? The main principle is living for the sake of others. So without this philosophy and universal principle cannot restore any human being. So when Heavenly Father created His creation and all things in universe, He used based on this universal principle living for the sake of others. That's why those who are against this universal principle just live for your own sake, they cannot find the purpose of their existence. That's why we really need to guide our VIPs and leaders and members and brothers and sisters what the main universal principle of universal principle. Also, we are the one who really need to practice living for the sake of others. So, our number one enemy is what? Self-centered. Everything self-centered. Centering for my own desire, my own purpose, for my own motivation. Satan is self-centered. His name is self-centered. But God's name is living for the sake of others. Everything others first. That's why we have to live for the sake of others. Doesn't have any choice. No choice. Universal principle is like that. We need to live for the sake of others. So, our divine principle clearly mentioned that what the center of the universe, centering on the purpose of existence of the individual embodiment of truths that make up the material universe at the different levels. We can surmise energy exists to form particles, particles exist to form the atoms to form molecules, molecules to form the matter, and matter exists for the creation of all the individual entities in the universe. So universal principle is like that. So anyone oppose this order, anyone do not live centering on this universal principle, you cannot find the purpose of your existence. God's principle like that, universal principle like that. So, that's why everybody, without exception, need to follow this way. So, Father said, God's purpose of creation is fulfilled when a being live for the sake of the greater center. Consequently, living for the sake of others is the truth in this universe. Herein lies the reason that we must live for the sake of others. All our order in the universe can establish when we live for the greater center. That's why when you just live for your own sake, and then you are the one who destroy the universe. You are destroy the system of God's principle. That's really important. So number one enemy is what? Number one enemy is just living for my own sake. Then, you cannot get along with the universe. You cannot get along with the heavenly parents. Real living is living for the sake of others. So you look at that. There are 8 stage principles for living for the sake of others. An individual must live and exist for the sake of the family, the family for the sake of the tribe for the sake of the people of the nation for the nation for the world for the cosmos, and the cosmos for the sake of the God. We must perfect a duty way of filial sons and daughters in our family, tribal Messiah in the tribe, patriot in our nation, saints in the world, and the divine sons and daughters in heaven and earth. Therefore, universal order can be brought when human beings who are the center of the entire universe live for the sake of God. You look at this. A stage calls for living for the sake of others. Individuals need to live for the sake of the family. Family need to live for the sake of the tribe. Tribe need to live for the sake of the ethnic group. Ethnic group need to live for the sake of the nation. Nation for the sake of the world. World for the sake of God. The cosmos. Cosmos live for the sake of God. God for everything. This is very important. Even our blessed family. Just only they are thinking about their own blessed family, taking care of my own children. They need to receive blessing. They need to live very well. They need to study very well. Our even blessed family cannot think more than family. This is the problems. So purpose of our family is what? How can we save our tribe? This is very important. Very important. That's why don't have any concept of the heavenly tribal messiahship. You really totally against universal principle living for the sake of others. That's why as any blessed family, you don't care your tribe, you don't have any concept of the heavenly tribal messiahship, you are not unification member, unificationist, you are not. That's why we need to make the model individual, model family, model tribe. And then model ethnic group. Under the ethnic group, model providence, model city, model town, model area. How can we do? And then finally, how can we establish an ideal nation? So what's the purpose of an ideal nation? Is to establish an ideal world and the cosmos, including spiritual world. That is for the sake of the God. That's why first our duty is what? How can I become filial child? This is the most important part. Filial piety in the family. You cannot be a filial child. You don't have the filial heart toward your own parents for the sake of God and true parents. Then you cannot go forward anymore. That's why this filial piety is a fundamental thought. For the sake of the others. Okay? That's why you need to recognize by your parents, you are my filial son and daughters. You need to be recognized by heavenly parents and true parents. You are really, really heavenly filial child. You need to recognize in the family. After that, you need to recognize by your tribe. You are really, really heavenly tribal Messiah. You are really Chonbo child. We need to upgrade to Chonbo child from filial child, centering on our tribe. How many of you recognize by your tribe? There's a tribal Messiah. Does not matter you can register in Chonbo 1 or not, does not matter. Even though you received some kind of the award from mother, okay, you fulfilled vertically or horizontally, that is the external condition. How much you devoted, how much you dedicated for your tribe, that is the issue. Minimum condition. When you really live for the sake of the 430 families, for the sake of each one of the 430 families, Father said, we can eradicate our all kind of fallen nature because you need to live one by one. Minimum condition 430 couple. 430 means representative of the nation, representative of the world. That's why truly, not by condition, Krishna. Not by condition. No choice because true parents, this is a wish or God's wish. No. really one of the important the cause, okay? You need to recognize in the family as a filial son. You need to be recognized by your tribe as a tribal Messiah. You are my Messiah. You are my parent. I cannot say to the father, to the mother, but through seeing you, I can see true parents who they are. And then you need to be recognized as a patriot in your nation. So how to recognize as a patriot? Father said, without establishing substantial God's nation, which is 천일국, nobody can recognize you are patriot. That's why without restoration, 170, one nation, one people, no one can become heavenly patriot. That's why in the world, no one patriot. No one, because we are not yet restore one nation, 170, one people. When you complete the heavenly tribal messiahship, now recognized by true mother, you are heavenly tribal messiah. It's okay. But we are not yet restore one nation, 170, one people. That's why nobody become heavenly patriot without establishing 천일국. This is a very serious issue. This is the next course. What's the purpose of heavenly tribal messiahship? In order to establish one nation. That's why from now on, so everybody now become heavenly tribal messiah. That's why in Asia from now on, after 2020, all the event finished, and then from now on, we need to go second 7 years course from now on. Second 7 years until 2027. What's the time? What should we do this time period of the second 7 years course? What's our final goal? Philippines, Nepal, Cambodia. Where to go? What's our direction? Our direction is what? To establish one nation, substantial one nation, controlled by heavenly constitution, not conditional anymore. Head of the state appear and then attend our blessing. This is just condition. There is not yet heavenly constitution. 아주? This is a completed, condition. Handle everything by heavenly constitution. And then, not just only recognized by patriot, you have to be saints. So how to be recognized as a saint? Father said, without restoration of world, no one can become saint. This is our level. Next level we need to go. Not simple matter. And then after we restore the world, and then we need to restore, including what? Even spiritual world. And then we have to be a divine sons and daughters. This one, without exception, need to go this way. Filial child, heavenly tribal messiahs, and patriot, saints, we need to be divine sons and daughters. This is our course we need to go. A stage course. That's why do not think just only individual perfection, or do not think just only your ideal family, do not think just only your own heavenly tribal message. Still far away to go. That's why Father saying, without restoring the world, you need to come back again from spiritual world. Without exception, need to come back, because not yet completely restored. Still some corner of the world still not yet restored. So now we die, go to spiritual world, and need to come back again until completely restore the world. No one remain in the world. As under the hell. Wow, I'm very serious about it. We need to come back again. We need to resurrect again. oh, now I completed heavenly tribal messiahship. What is the ancestral liberation ceremony? Vertically, horizontally, I am guaranteed to enter kingdom of heaven. Is not that kind of a simple matter. Condition is nothing. How much internally dedicated and sacrificed so much for the sake of the one nation, one sovereignty, one people. 아주. Read.
Why must we live for the sake of others? Then, what is the measure by which the level of love is decided? The principle of love is that we love sacrifices for something that is greater. The level of that love is elevated. Do you understand what I mean? Therefore, if there is a person who rather than sacrificing for his family, sacrifices even his family for his nation, he will become a patriot, and his family becomes a family of patriots. This is how it is. However, it is not enough to merely be a patriotic family. If you sacrifice for your nation while leading your family and your tribe, you will become not only a patriot, but also a member of a patriotic tribe.
Jesus, Muhammad, and then many people we are recognized they are like saints and sages. But centering on God's point of view is different. Oh, they are great people. But this is our cause. We also have to be saints and sages. You know, when I listen Father's word all the time, he say from individual to family, family to tribe, tribe to ethnic group to nation, nation to the world, from world to the cosmos. Every sentence he's talking about. When I was young, I could not understand what he's talking about. Later, when I one day understand Father's concept, living for the sake of others, the A stage, how to live for the sake of others. Wow. I have like a transformation experience. If Asia just only live for the sake of the Asia, does not make any sense. That's why my heart is really growing and growing and wider and deeper and deeper. And how can we embrace more? Because of this concept. Always our unificationists need to think the concept of the whole. Always, even though your small thing you do, your concept should have the world. How can I contribute something for the sake of the world? To the Nepal, how to contribute something for the sake of the world? That's why whenever I wake up every morning, I pray for the sake of the world, more than individual, more than family, more than nation, each nation. How connect to the world? That's why we need to give this kind of clear vision and idea and goal and hope to our young people. Young people don't have any concept of the globe for the sake of the world. That's why we need to teach very clearly. Any ambassador for peace, any one of the YLT member, any leaders, how can they to contribute for the sake of the world? So in order to contribute for the sake of the world, the most important thing is what Father here said. Sacrifice. Love requires sacrifice. Wow. When I realized this one, I cried so much. I thought love is very good. Just love is very, 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 very good. You know? But, to gain love, you need to sacrifice. The attribution of true love is what? Really requires sacrifice. As a parent, to raise up children without sacrificing, how can raise up children? That's why sacrifice is the most essential content for the sake of the love and for living for the sake of others. Read.
Those who sacrifice for something greater will never perish, but will remain. God can plan for perfect restoration through those groups. He cannot even dream of it with any other means or method. Therefore, the ideology of restoration is that I exist for my partner and for my family. My family exists for my nation. My nation exists for the world, and the world exists for God. Then what does God exist for? You may think it doesn't make sense that God exists for something. He may exist for himself, but that is not it at all. He exists for love. Only then the world of peace can be established. Do you understand?
Those who sacrifice for something greater will never perish. I'm so inspired. You know? That's why I really, how can I educate our each national leaders and each blessed family concept of the war? Concept of the war. Even you focus on your own tribe, focus on your own nation, how to connect to the world. That means even though we are not recognized by God as a saints and sages, but you are living, centering on that kind of the lifestyle. How important and beautiful. Blessed.
Yes.
That's why. First Ladies Association, just do not think only for Asia. Through Asia, how can we contribute for the sake of the world? How can we embrace all women in the world? That's why, as long as you have the concept of the world, God surely bless you because you have the same concept as God. Same concept as God. Read.
For whom do I exist? Collection of speeches of Reverend Sun Myung. Where do we find ourselves today? Even if you are in a place of death, you must know for whom you exist. God's heart desires to teach this. God had presented the Messiah and an ideology of salvation through the history of religion in order to teach this to all humankind. Therefore, for whom do we exist? We must exist for the sake of heaven. Even if you die, you must do so for heaven. Even if you live, you must do so for heaven. Such a person may die, but he is not a dead person.
So then what is the core content of the living for the sake of others? It begins from filial piety. This filial piety particular concept, not original concept at all, but one day I hear the Reverend Yohanni testimony, I was totally shocked and so surprised. Why you cannot raise up your children as a filial son and daughters? He said, number one reason, you do not have a filial piety for God.